First of all, let me just apologize for this horrendous Modern Warfare gameplay. I didn't grow up on the game, and it's a totally different environment than Black Ops 2, but let's just get into it. There is legitimately no easier or faster way to start developing passive income than creating a high yield savings account, or, HYSA. I actually found out about them in the last year, and this is something I've been excited about, and I tell everyone who doesn't have one to make one. So, for those of you who don't know, a high yield savings account, as the name suggests, is a savings account that pays you significantly more interest than regular checking accounts or savings accounts. Specifically, about 300 to 400 times more on average. Most banks pay about like 1 to 0.02% each month, which is, quite literally a couple pennies. Maybe I'm doing a bit of cherry picking here, but compare that to an account that pays 3.8% a year with $3,200. That's paying you $10 a month. First of all, that's way better than 3 pennies in the normal bank, but that literally pays for Netflix or, whatever else you're into. It's literally free money. I know it may not sound like a lot, and maybe it's not. I mean, that's not even really the point anyway. The point of it is to be low risk, low reward, and that's what it is. And it does a pretty damn good job at that. But regardless, that is significantly better than a regular checking or savings account. On top of that, all your money is FDIC insured by most banks up to like 250,000. My boss has about 12,000 in her high yield savings, and she gets paid like $45 a month, which is really damn good. That is a free gym membership or, a good chunk of gas. Whatever you're using it for, it's free money. And whether you have a Dave Ramsey inspired $1,000 emergency fund, you're saving up for a car, or maybe you're doing really damn good and you have 6 months worth of expenses, there's absolutely no reason at all to not have a high yield savings account. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's take a look at some of them. So really, the main things you want to look for when making a high yield savings account is, one, the yield. Obviously, that's probably like the first thing. And then right after that, monthly fees or minimum deposits. I guess minimum deposits can kind of be whatever you feel like. If you can afford a minimum deposit, go for it. But monthly fees are a for sure no. You don't want to be spending more money than you're making, or really spending any money at all. That kind of defeats the purpose of this account. So after doing extensive research, I have found 5 great options for your high yield savings account. So keep in mind that I literally clicked on the first link that I saw, Bankrate, and these are sponsored by Bankrate. But regardless, they still get the job done. Like, it doesn't make them any less of an account or anything. But let me go through them and all their specifications real quick. So first on the list is American Express Savings. Right now, they pay 3.7%, no minimum deposit, and no monthly fee. And apparently, they have 24/7 customer support, which is good. Next on the list is Capital One. They pay 3.7%, and actually, I use Capital One. That's where I have my high yield at. There's no minimum deposit, there's no monthly fee, and you can also deposit checks through their mobile app. I'm sure you can tell by my subscribers that I'm not sponsored by Capital One, but, that might be pretty cool. On to the next bank. Everbank, actually, is the name of it. They pay 4.3%. That's the highest on the list so far. That is pretty damn good. Nothing new here. No monthly fee, no minimum deposit. It's kind of the same as the others. Other than that, though, I will say there's not much I have to say. Next on the list is Genius Bank, spelled with a J. 4.2 APY. That's very good. No minimum deposit, no monthly fee. Apparently, they have 24/7 client help from humans, so you don't got to deal with, robots. That gets annoying sometimes. Sorry, ChatGPT. Next, they're trying to tell me CIT Bank. I'm just going to skip that. That one's trash. Minimum account is $100, but minimum to get the APY 4.10 is 5,000. Yeah, we're gonna skip that, even though I just told you everything about them. Next one is Texas Capital Bank, and they have a 4.4% for, Texans. Apparently, that goes up to $1 million, all FDIC insured. So if you got $1 million, you can throw in here. That's $44,000 a year for doing nothing. That's only for Texans, though. Sorry, everybody else. So that's kind of it for Bankrate. There are tons of other high yield savings accounts with different companies you can look for. Like I've heard Laurel Road, I've heard SoFi. Just YouTube, Google, you can find so many that fit your needs. So I hope you understand the significance of everything that I just told you. And really, I just did most of the work, so there's no reason to not go open an account with one of these companies. But now that that's out of the way, let me tell you about something that might be even better. This holds a special place in every dividend investor's heart. It's SCHD. SCHD is a Charles Schwab US dividend ETF. Kind of similar to a stock, but not really. It's a basket ETF, so it invests in various different companies, specifically ones that pay dividends. And actually, its goal is to track as closely as possible the Dow Jones Dividend US 100 Index. Right now, it has 104 holdings, and the top 10 are Conoco, Chevron, Verizon, Bristol, Coke, Amgen, Cisco, AbbVie, Altria, and Pepsi. The expense ratio is 0.06%, which is really low. And if you don't know what expense ratio is, I'll probably just make a short about it because I need content. But right now, it pays 3.5% in dividends, and that's not as much as the high yield savings account would be paying you, although a couple weeks ago it was at 3.8%. But the key with this is you have room for upside potential. Yes, this can be a double-edged sword because it can go down, but generally, because it's a fund, it only goes up. Kind of like the S&P 500. You just got to give it enough time. So not only are you making money from the dividends it's paying, but you also can make money as the ETF goes up in value. My bad, guys. I'm just realizing that you can hear my fan throughout the whole rest of this video. I thought my little guard was enough, but next time I'll have it off for my recording. With that being said, if anyone actually ends up watching this video that doesn't know me, I am just a 20-year-old dude, right? I still have a lot to learn, and hopefully I can use this channel as a vehicle to learn a lot. But one thing that kind of confuses me is average annualized percentage return. And not because they're inherently confusing, but because I've seen several like actively managed funds and even SCHD that perform better than like the S&P 500, but everyone says like actively managed funds, for example, don't end up performing better in the long run. And maybe I'm just missing something here, but there was one that I saw that averaged like 13 or 14% since like 1967. So if anyone has any idea, maybe I'm missing something here, I don't know, please let me know in the comments. But back to SCHD. SCHD has had an average annualized percentage return of 13% per year since its inception in 2011, which is very good. A lot of people rely on it heavily in retirement for its consistent cash flow, and a lot of dividend investors also have a significant chunk of SCHD in their portfolio. I am one of them. I have a couple grand in my high yield savings at Capital One, but I also decided to put about $700 into SCHD, and it's been working nicely. I'm enjoying it. So if you decide you might want to put some money into SCHD, it might be a pretty good time right now. It's down about 6.5% from its high in November last year, and it's a slow moving ETF. It might be kind of boring, but honestly, like investing kind of is boring. I hate to admit it, it can be boring, it is boring, but I still enjoy it. And no middle-aged person is going to wish they invested less money. But that wraps up my video. I hope you got some value out of it, and I hope you take my advice. I know I'm just some 20-year-old kid that in the grand scheme of things still has a lot to learn about finance, but I'd like to think I know more than the average person, and I'd like to think I could help some people.